There is a place in the Atlantic where the light gives up, where the water turns from blue to black, and the pressure builds until nothing survives. No sound reaches this deep, no warmth, nothing but darkness pressing in from every side. And somewhere in that darkness, for 131 years, 21 tons of gold sat waiting. No light had touched it. No human hand had reached it. The pressure at that depth would crush a submarine. And one man from Ohio, an ocean engineer with no treasure hunting experience, said he could bring it back. He did. And then he vanished with it. This is the story of the SS Central America, the ship of gold. In the summer of 1857, the California gold rush was at its peak. Thousands of men had gone west with nothing and struck fortunes in the riverbeds and mountains of California. And when they were ready to come home, to the East Coast, to their families, to the lives they had left behind, they took the only route available, south by steamship to Panama, across the isthmus by rail, then north again aboard a mail steamer bound for New York. On September 3rd of that year, the SS Central America departed the port of Colon with 477 passengers, 101 crew members, and a cargo hold heavy with California gold. Commercial shipments filled the lower decks. Gold bars, gold coins, gold dust packed in crates and locked in the ship's safe. But the passengers carried gold too, in their luggage, in their pockets, sewn into their clothing. These were men who had spent years digging in the dirt, and they were finally bringing their fortunes home. The ship was captained by William Lewis Herndon, a decorated naval officer, a man known for his steadiness. For 6 days, the voyage was uneventful. On September 9th, everything changed. A hurricane caught the Central America 200 miles off the Carolina coast. Not a passing squall. A Category 2 cyclone that pinned the ship inside its rotation for 3 days. Waves broke over the bow, and the hull groaned under pressure it was never built to take. Water began flooding the lower compartments faster than anyone could remove it. Captain Herndon ordered every able body to the bucket brigade. Passengers who had never worked a ship in their lives formed lines in the rain and the dark passing water up from below. Women, businessmen, miners with calloused hands and gold in their boots. For 48 hours, they bailed. Hands bled, arms gave out. The water kept rising. By the afternoon of September 12th, Herndon knew. He ordered the women and children transferred to a nearby brig called the Marine. As the ship listed and began to go under, Captain Herndon climbed onto the paddle box. He was in full dress uniform. He did not reach for a life vest. He did not jump. He stood and watched the water come. 425 souls went down with him, and 21 tons of gold sank into a darkness so deep that, at the time, no technology on Earth could reach it. For over a century, the gold sat there. Empires rose and fell above the surface. 2 world wars were fought. Men walked on the moon. And still, 7,200 feet below the Atlantic, the gold waited. Then Tommy Gregory Thompson heard the story. Thompson was not a treasure hunter. He was an ocean engineer from Columbus, Ohio. Quiet, methodical, obsessive in the way that brilliant people sometimes are. In 1983, and he began approaching investors, wealthy individuals in Columbus, doctors, lawyers, real estate developers. He showed them the research. He showed them the sonar data. He showed them his plan for a robotic recovery vehicle that could operate at depths no human diver could survive. He told them the gold was worth over $100 million. Over 3 years, 161 people invested a combined $12.7 million. They trusted him. In 1988, Thompson and his crew aboard the research vessel Arctic Discoverer reached the search zone. Side-scan sonar swept the ocean floor in long, methodical passes. Days of nothing. Then a return signal, a shape at 7,200 feet, too large to be a geological formation, too structured, too symmetrical. Thompson deployed his remotely operated vehicle. He had helped design it himself. The crew called it Nemo, after the captain in Jules Verne's story. A man who left the surface world behind to live in the depths. Perhaps that name meant more than anyone realized at the time. Nemo descended for over an hour. The monitors showed only darkness and falling marine snow, tiny particles drifting like ash in a black sky. Then the floodlights hit the bottom. Gold, not scattered traces, not a few coins in the silt. Gold bars stacked like bricks. Gold coins spread across the sediment in clusters so dense they looked like cobblestone. A gold dust still shimmering in the disturbed water, untouched, unmoved, exactly where it had landed when the ship broke apart 131 years before. The crew went silent. Thompson stared at the monitor. One of the engineers later described the moment as holy. Over the following months, Nemo carefully recovered gold from the site. Individual bars were lifted with mechanical arms. Coins were suctioned from the sand. A 1 gold bar, later called the Eureka bar, weighed more than 80 pounds. It eventually sold for $8 million. A single bar. The total recovery was estimated between $100 and $150 million. Tommy Gregory Thompson had done what no one believed possible. He had reached into the deepest dark the ocean could offer and pulled out a fortune that hadn't seen light since Abraham Lincoln was alive. He was a genius, a pioneer. His name was in every newspaper. And that's when the story turns. Thompson never paid his investors, the people who had given him $12.7 million, who had believed in his vision when no one else would, received nothing, not a share, not a coin, not even an explanation. He stopped communicating. He cycled through attorneys. He ignored court orders demanding he appear and account for the gold's location and distribution. In 2012, a federal judge issued an arrest warrant, and Thompson had failed to comply with orders to reveal what he had done with the treasure. But Thompson was already gone. For over 2 years, the United States Marshal Service searched for him. He had been living under false names, moving between states, paying for everything in cash. In January of 2015, marshals tracked him to a hotel in Boca Raton, Florida. When they entered the room, they found $425,000 in cash. They found fake identification. And they found a book on Thompson's nightstand. The title was about how to become invisible and disappear. Thompson was arrested. During the proceedings that followed, the judge asked him a direct question. 500 gold coins from the Central America recovery were unaccounted for. Coins worth millions. Where were they? Thompson's answer, he couldn't remember. The judge held him in contempt. Ian Thompson spent years in a federal detention facility, not for theft, not for fraud, but for refusing to say where the gold was. He chose a cell over the truth. And the coins, as far as anyone knows, are still out there, somewhere. The ocean held its gold in the dark for 131 years. When the light finally came, it gave the treasure up, faithfully, completely, without resistance. The man who brought that light took the gold and carried it into a different kind of darkness, and one he chose for himself. The SS Central America rests at 7,200 feet. Its bones are slowly dissolving into the sea floor. What's left of Captain Herndon is somewhere in that wreckage, a man who stood in full uniform as the water took him, because that was the kind of man he was. And Tommy Gregory Thompson sits somewhere above the surface, free now, but still silent, still refusing to say where the gold is, still keeping secrets that the ocean never would. And some things stay buried, not because the deep won't give them up, but because people won't.